I lived in an artificial town when I was younger. It started in 2004. I was 12, and it was the first manned spacecraft to take off in my hometown. Of course, anyone outside of our town would not be aware of this. My father was one of the main engineers, which is why I know of it. It was for a private company, a very secret private company that even I don't know the name of. All the people working with them don't exist, legally, that is. And we live in the compound. Of course, no one knew about this. All of us thought the town was real. For starters, it looked very real. It really looked like a rural, provincial town, and since most of us had never lived outside of the compound, no one had any suspicions. It didn't even cross our minds how it was weird that the people who lived here all worked for the same company. No one noticed how only the people who worked at the company were allowed to leave our town. No one noticed when the glitches started. It was a few weeks after the astronauts had come back. Everyone, of course, welcomed them with wide smiles and a party. I wasn't able to attend since I was feeling sick. I remember feeling really sorry for my parents since they had to stay home with me while I was quarantined. That's another weird thing. Every time someone fell sick, they would be quarantined, together with their families. A huge inflatable bubble was wrapped around the house with a small ventilation chamber which passed through a sterilization quarter. No one was allowed near whoever was quarantined. That night, all of our neighbors slept in the relocation home. I still remember clearly. I had peeked into my parents' bedroom to see if they were asleep. I had wanted to have soup since my throat was really dry, since I didn't have any access card yet. I was not allowed to turn on the stove. You're able to gain this when you turn 18, so I tiptoed near my parents' bed. As I was tapping my mother's shoulder, she pulled me in, wrapping me under the blanket with them. "They're watching," she whispered, directly into my ear. Cough. I did, and my mother patted my back. It had a familiar pattern to it, and then it hit me. It was Morse code, our version of it. My mom had taught me this when I was younger. "They will be watching," she tapped. I coughed a bit more. My throat had started to actually hurt. "Sweetie, you need to go back to your room or we might catch your sickness," she said, pulling me up and putting me to bed. Like how she did when I was 10. Her lips were smiling, but her eyes mirrored sadness. "Mom and Dad want the best for you," she whispered, as I felt something prick my neck as she covered me in my blanket. "We want you to get well quick and not be sick again, okay?" I heard her footsteps sounding away from me and waited until the door shut. I closed my eyes, feeling sleepy. I wasn't able to eat soup that night. The next morning was normal. I wasn't sick anymore, and they sent in a doctor to check whether I was well. They approved the removal of the quarantine bubble, and we had breakfast together at the dining table. It was the first time we had ever done so. My mom and Dad exchanged glances, and Dad pulled out a box from the seat beside him. "Since you'll be staying at home today, we wanted to make sure you didn't get bored," he said, handing the box over to me. I opened it and saw a textbook, a pencil, and an eraser, a sketchbook. "Thank you," I had said. I loved drawing, and my parents knew that. They went outside and boarded the company bus. I went to my room and set my sketchbook down on the table. Flipping the pages open, I noticed some writing scribbled on one of the pages. DSVM GSV YOZXBLFG HGZIGH, OLXP GSV WLLIH. When I was a kid, I was really interested in codes, and this was one of the few I had learned. Reverse alphabet. You take the alphabet and you reverse them from Z to A. What is equivalent to the position of the original letter will act as the symbol. This letter read, "When the blackout starts, lock the doors." I started drawing over the scribbles. They were watching, after all. The blackout happened at 4 a.m. I had already locked the doors an hour before. I was staring out my window and dragging the pencil on my sketchbook. I wasn't sure if they were able to watch us without the power. That's when I noticed it. For about a millisecond, the sky turned green. It turned bright green, and the mountains would distort. The whole town looked like a glitching video game, and then the lights came on. No one was awake. No one saw the glitches. That happened a few more times after that, and no one knew about it. When the blackout stopped, everyone was happy. Not like happy the blackouts are over, just happy. Everyone felt happy. For some strange reason, no one went out of their houses anymore. Everyone felt utterly content just sitting on their couch all day long. That was when the deaths started happening. Everyone was so happy, they felt no need to sleep, or to eat, or to survive. People started dying. Around 3 months after the astronauts came back, half of our town's population was gone. That was when the company sent in the buses. From the buses came doctors, all of them wearing gas masks. They say it was an infection. They had us all fall in line and scanned our eyes, and if the scanner beeped once, you can go in the bus nearest. If it beeped twice, they asked you to go in a separate bus farther down the line. It beeped twice on my turn. Before boarding the bus, we were asked to go through a sterilization chamber. We were requested to shower and put on a new set of clothes, and afterwards we were scanned from head to toe and brought into the bus itself. That was 8 years ago. I still don't know what happened to the people who boarded the other bus. All of the people in the bus with me are either living in the outside or working with the company. To be honest, I don't even know what infection it was. I am now in the outside world. My parents are still working in the company. Pretty soon, I'll have to join them too. I hope that'll answer all my questions.